Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to week 34 of this epic weight loss journey. It was about 34 weeks ago I started this whole journey with a series of fasting and food experiments with little to no exercise. Who could have imagined that? I've lost pretty close to 130 pounds in the last 34 weeks. And in these videos, we'd like to go over my weekly weight loss and talk about everything that we've done in the process. So right now I'm on a mission to get down below 300 pounds and hopefully stay there. When I started this weight loss journey, I was a whopping 435 pounds. I don't want to go back to that anymore. And I'm just like anybody else. Throughout this entire process, I've transitioned through many different types of eating strategies and habits and diets and routines. I'm just fed up with it all, so eventually it led me down the road to carnivore. And so far, carnivore just works. It works for my eating disorder. I started carnivore about 125 days ago, and I can't say I did it without struggles. I'm still struggling as I go. I'm learning new things, and I'm also using a 90-10 eating principle that I came up with on my own. That's 90% meats and fats and 10% I love my life. Now, if you're curious how that 10% works, well, that's just a responsible type of eating after, eating 90% meats and fats. Sometimes it might be a little sauce, it might be a piece of fruits, some random vegetables, but it's all on the ketogenic plane for the most part. So today I wanted to go over some of the video topics we're going to cover. I have one thing I want to talk about, the emotional food log and tips and how it works, what I ate this week, exercises I'm doing. Yay, I finally started exercising. That's a positive thing. I've been doing pretty good this week, by the way. Some new additions for my digestive issues. I've previously talked about some digestive issues I have going on in my gut, especially when I eat 100% meats and fats. So this is why I've had a hard time with carnivore and struggling throughout the process. And also we talk about my weight for the week and go over the numbers from there. Did it go up or down and why? So this is week 34 of my journey and 125 days of carnivore. So let's go. So what is the first thing you normally crave after an exercise routine? Well, for me, it's normally been something like carbs. I usually go straight for the carbs, like even Subway, which is a healthier option, but it's got a lot of carbs and there's a lot of vegetables and the meat's kind of iffy. I often get tempted by the cookies there, and cookies are, they're one of my weaknesses, like many people out there. So meanwhile, while we're trying to eat somewhat healthy, we're tempted by cookies, and there's always that selection of sodas and the selection of potato chips. So I'll get into a bit more of that as we go. So let's get on into this week's weigh-in and see what happened. Every week my cat Gray Bear likes to walk me down the hall. Today I guess she just wants to scratch her ear and sit there in the hall. But okay, let's see what happens here. Oh, what a good kitty she is. And we're gonna stall again. Let's get going, kitty. Alright, atta girl. So we got some random stuff in the way this morning. I'll have to kick this pillow out of the way. Looks like my daughter is here sleeping on the couch. Get this scale. Oh, what is going on here? Okay, somebody must have unplugged my scale. Alright, let's get this plugged in. There we go. Aha, perfect. Scale's on. Looks like it's all zeroed out. I don't particularly have high hopes for this week, but yeah, we'll explain more of that a little bit later on. So let's see what this week's weight is going to be. Let's get that glare out of there. 307.7 pounds. Well, that is not exactly the number I was hoping for, and it was also not exactly something I wasn't expecting. Because this week wasn't exactly easy for me. I had a bunch of things going on. My Aka flew into town. She broke her wrist on the ice in Nome, and she's here in town. She got an operation. She's doing just fine, thankfully. So hopefully she's going to be on the mends here. And then I also had a court date on the same day she was flying into town, go figure. And there was a couple things that I had as far as issues this week, but they weren't super huge. I didn't fly completely off the rail, so that's good news. Let's see, last week's weight was 298.3 pounds. That was amazing. I was down below 300 pounds for the first time in years. And of course I have to go the other way. That's a struggle. Okay, but anyways, 298.3 pounds minus 307.7 pounds. That's going to equal 9.4 pounds weight gain this week. That's a lot of weight. Okay, I'll get over this. We're just going to keep going on the current path that we're on, and hopefully I can get down below that 300 mark again. That's frustrating because I was super proud. I was super happy. And I guess I'll just have to do it twice because it's just all part of the game. And weight goes up and down. It's liquid. You know, it's liquid. We just gain weight, we lose weight as quick as we drink water or eat some food. So I'm not going to stress over it too much. I started this weight loss journey at 435 pounds. And let's see, this week's weight was 307.7 pounds. So that brings my total weight loss of 34 weeks down to 127.3 pounds. That's good grief. It was 135 pounds. Now it's back to 127. Like I said, I'll get over it, and hopefully we'll just work on from there. Let's see. So what happened? What changed this week? So like I said before, I had to appear in court on Wednesday, and that was also the day Akka was flying into town with her broken arm. Yeah, I had to go to court for a traffic violation. I ran a red light back before it started snowing here, and it just seems like it takes forever to get court dates nowadays. But anyways, yeah, I went to court. I was found guilty of running the red light. The officer's camera proved that without a doubt. I couldn't even argue that. So yeah, long story short, I just took the lickings, and I'm going to move on from there. We're going to try to do a better job next time, and that's all I can do with that one. But that was an added stressor for the week. Akka breaking her arm, coming down here. That is a stressor too, because that's an extra person in the house. We have to take care of her and, shuttle her around to whatever she might want to do. And yeah, they love shopping when they come to town because she lives in Nome, Alaska. So it's a big deal. Anytime they get to come down here, they get to see all the stores, and, it's kind of like us from here in Anchorage, visiting a place like Joplin, Missouri, for instance. It's just full of all these discount stores, box stores, stuff like that. So yeah, for somebody like us here in Anchorage, it would be a joy to go there because everything's so cheap. But then we just have to figure out how to ship it back home. That's just part of living here. So yes, Akka did slip and fall on the ice, and she wound up breaking a bone in her wrist. It didn't sound like too big of a process to do the surgery and get whatever they had done. I think they put a plate in her arm, and they also have her like in that little cast that you can see there in the picture. But all in all, she's doing well. They're out shopping right now and finally giving me a little peace and quiet so I can get this video done. Another thing that happened this week that might have affected my weight loss is I started exercising. That's a big deal. I started doing a series of push-ups and lifting weights, and that was quite interesting, in fact, because there was a lot of comments about me lifting that amount of weight. I think it's like 51.5 pounds or something like that on the dumbbells. But anyways, I just thought that was incredibly interesting. So we're going to take a trip on into the living room here because I wanted to show you guys exactly what my upper body weighs when get some lights turned on in there. It's really dark. But I wanted to show you guys what my body weighs when I'm just leaning forward on the scale. Now we're going to take this cushion here. We're going to kick this over here because I'm going to kneel down on this cushion, and we're going to get this scale set up. And out here in a spot where I'm just going to lean forward on this platform here, and everything's kind of in the way. But I think in order to do this, I'm going to have to set the camera up here so you guys can actually see the numbers on here. Let me look at the viewfinder to see if you're in there. That looks pretty good, hopefully. All right, now I'm just going to lean on that scale and show you guys what my upper body weighs. So when I'm doing a curl, that's just about 50 pounds on each arm. So when I'm doing push-ups, let's see, whatever this is going to show. So that is me leaning forward on the scale and try to stay steady. So that's approximately 180 pounds. Wow. Oh, that was awkward. Maybe I should have rethought how I was going to do this, but you guys get the feeling of what I'm talking about here. So that's a lot of weight. That is a lot of weight between the two arms. But I'm also leaning at like a 45-degree angle. So, I mean, it's still a lot of weight just to, push my own body weight up and down. So I had a question for all of you. Now I have been researching some bodybuilders and people that are doing like strenuous exercises on Carnivore. Now, I did have a question that I wanted to ask you guys about what do you do for severe arm cramps? Now, when I work to failure, my arms get stuck in this like weird, I can't hardly move them. Like this whole area just cramps up solid on both sides. Now, before I even get started the exercise routine, I'm always taking my electrolyte drinks. I'm drinking water before I even get started. So hydration is already there. The electrolytes are already there, thankfully. But my arms just get completely gassed out. Like I get to a certain point, even before failure point, I feel like my arms are just done. Like they don't want to move. They don't want to push me up again. So when I'm at failure, I'm like kind of embarrassingly flat, face first down on the floor. I'm like, oh, and then I'm just trying to figure out how to get up because I'm still 300 something pounds now, and that's a lot of weight to push off the floor. Even if I hadn't done a bunch of push-ups or a bunch of arm curls, for instance. But all right, so yeah, if you could help me out there, just give me some random advice, that'd be great, because I've never experienced a arm cramp anything like that before in my lifetime. Well, something else I looked into was our bodies have a set point, and I'm just wondering if I'm stuck at a set point, like around 300 so-ish pounds. If that's like one of the set points my body is going to be set at for a period of time before I continue to start losing weight and get down below 300 pounds. And I was worried about that set point, especially around 350 pounds and 335, mainly because that was where I was for a period of time, and I was just somewhat comfortable there. I was also doing workouts and stuff like that, and I was still staying within that range. So, and I'm thinking my next set point might be around 275 or 250 or so. And that might actually be where I'm just going to stay, is right within in that body weight right there. Because, when I looked at one of the online doctors, and I saw him get on the scale, I was surprised to see that he was right around 255, and he looks extremely healthy. He's extremely well built. I mean, his arms look amazing. You see him with the shirt off, everything looks fantastic. So 255 might be my deciding goal weight when I get to it, because 235, when I was at 235, I did feel kind of light, but that was when I was heavy in the bicycles and doing a lot of extracurricular activities outside and just constantly on the go. So 255 might be my new goal weight. So we'll have to see and find out. Could be interesting. Who knows? So let's talk about some of the new food items that I've put into this diet here so far. So here we go. Skadoosh. There we go. All right. Again, yeah, I got a couple new food items here. Let's see. One of the viewers really, blew me away. She's been talking to me quite a bit on the side here and telling me some of the stuff she does. And she's using this, a similar product to, this is Nature's Way coconut oil. This is extra virgin cold pressed coconut oil. Now, you probably heard of MCT oils. That type of product you can buy in a container. And calm down over there, you guys. Your cats are fighting. But this here contains 62% MCT. I think you can see that right there. But I use this stuff anyways, to, rub on my feet, rub on my whatnots and stuff, because as a man with a belt that wears a belt all the time, sometimes we get chafing and might get a rash down here at the belt line. Now, another thing I used to use this type of coconut oil for was, especially after I cut out all the carbs and all the caca food, I used to use this in my armpits for, just the chafing here. Because when you're morbidly obese, you have like this little fat roll that kind of rolls over here, and it just rubs this raw. So I'd use a little bit of that there. And I didn't know this, but I know people use this for cooking and stuff like that, but I didn't realize you could take like a spoonful of this, a day, and it was going to help your digestive tract. Now, I've been using this product all week long. I am not complaining at all. Day 2 after using this product was quite interesting, especially when I had a bowel movement. Now, I know we're getting down that road again. We're going to be talking about poop poop has a lot to do with digestive issues and how carnivore works, and as far as that goes. So yeah, I'm going to openly talk about this stuff. But so I take a spoonful of this stuff here and I put it into my coffee and I stir it around until it dissolves, and then I'll drink it that way. But 2 days after the fact, when I turned around after I went potty, and I'm like a lot of guys or a lot of people, I guess, but we just turn around and we see what happened. What kind of poop did we have for that day? And I noticed a lot of extra stuff in that poop that wasn't normally there previously throughout this journey. It looked like stuff that shouldn't have been in my gut in the first place. So it actually started to work. It started to clear some stuff out. I don't know exactly how this stuff works. I was recommended to not take more than 2 tablespoons of this a day, because if you did, it could lead to diarrhea and other issues going on there, possibly leaky butt or whatever you want to call that. But yeah, so far this is a winner for me. I like this, and it really has aided me with moving everything through and getting it out. There could be a potential minor blockage going on there because I have pretty regular stools. I typically go about once a day, usually in the morning before I go to work. So I have something come out of me every morning, and this has been pretty consistent even with carnivore. Now, another product that I've been using is this. This stuff really tastes fantastic. I mean, this is good stuff here. I like this a lot. This is Greek yogurt, just plain Greek yogurt. The calories on it are 170 calories per 3/4 cup, but it works for the stomach injury I have. And it might be like a hiatal hernia or something like that, where the stomach is actually trying to push its way back up, through the esophagus. But that was an injury I suffered years ago when I was doing sit-ups. And I believe I was doing sit-ups on a full stomach. So when I went to sit up, I had this gut-wrenching pain, like right in this area. Now, I have spent years since that injury trying to figure it out. I've been to the hospital, had MRI scans, done CT scans, we've done tons of blood work since then. We're always checking for any signs of anything, any growths, any tumors, cancer, etc. And so far, nothing has appeared on the screens or any of the imaging that they can find. We've also done x-rays, pretty much everything we can possibly do to try to figure it out without sticking a scope down my throat. Now, I was set up to do a scope, and the doctor that was thinking about doing it, was basically like, so how are you dealing with the pain? And you've been dealing with it for years, and this wasn't too long ago. I think this was about about 6 months ago. It was before I started this weight loss journey, was when this was, all scheduled and everything like that. But he was wondering how I was dealing with the pain and what was affecting the pain the most. And when I was having the chronic pain, like the really gut-wrenching, it felt like somebody was sticking a spear, like a hot metal spear, like right here in my gut. That was a time where I was abusing a product called Redline Energy Drink. Now, Redline Energy Drink is actually a dangerous drink, especially for young people, because it does apparent damage to your gut. And it's also just full of caffeine. Now, there's instructions on this little tiny bottle, and it's only about this big. You're only supposed to drink about 1/4 of the bottle per serving. But yeah, I was probably drinking more than I should have. I was probably drinking it more frequently than I should have. But when I was drinking that drink, that pain in my gut got way worse. Now, so caffeine was a deciding factor in how bad it was going to hurt. So I stopped using that product. I drink a lot less coffee these days as well, so that also helps mitigate the pain. But after I eat a meal, if I take about 3 spoonfuls of this, and if I mix some blueberries in there, I mean, that's just fine. That's a little bit of carbs, a tiny little bit of sugar, but I'm not wrecking the plan there. I'm still staying pretty healthy. So about 3 to 4 spoonfuls of this, and whatever that pain is kind of feels like it's just being satiated and smoothed out there. So yeah, I like this stuff for my digestion. It's also been helpful for getting everything inside me to move, and They're like little tornadoes today. They're feral, but it really helps get my digestion to move and everything working correctly. So yeah, this is another winning product for me. So anyways, let's get back to the scan. Not necessarily the scan, but the scope going down my throat. Now the doctor at the time, me and him had the discussion. They're like, well, if you've been dealing with the pain of this problem in your gut for so long, um, he advised me to cancel the scope going down my throat, because there's potential harm that could be done to the esophagus when putting a scope down there. You're doing exploratory stuff in places that don't necessarily need a camera shoved down in there. You could do damage to my vocal cords, for instance. I wouldn't be able to talk, because that's happened before. Some people have had injuries just from doing something basic like putting a camera down there. So we decided, he decided, and I decided as well to, not do the scope down the throat. And all that would have done was just, poked around, saw some images down there, and, possibly verified what we already thought we knew. So we're just going to proceed on with the process of, yeah, that's probably the injury. Now there are some exercises I can do. Just sitting in a chair like this is, you sit straight up. Now this is the area that the pain is in. But you do exercises like this. You put your arm as far over your head and you go like that. And once in a while, I kind of get and it does relieve a lot of the pain. And if I do it enough, the pain kind of just goes away. So that's kind of how I'm mitigating whatever this issue is, we're just trying to eat healthy, get back into shape and go from there. So some of the things I've been cutting out. Yeah, I've been cutting out some of the sauces. Now, normally I like to eat Kinder's type barbecue sauce. The mailman just showed up at the door dropping off an Amazon package outside. But yeah, I used to like to put that Kinder's barbecue sauce on things, and that does have some natural sugar in it, no high fructose anything. So it wasn't technically wrecking the entire plan of the day, but it's still, I've been advised to try to get away from that stuff, try to phase out the fruits, try to phase out the vegetables I crave. So we're just trying to really focus more on carnivore, getting closer to 100%, or trying to figure out how I can get to 100%, because it's not easy for everybody to be 100% strict with carnivore, and I definitely haven't figured out how to do it. Let's see. So at the beginning of the week, Saturday, after the last video that I made, I started out really strong. I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. We're not going to have sauces. We're not going to add cheese. We're just going to cut all that out. We're not going to do any vegetables. We're not going to do any fruits. And that went okay. That went pretty well right up until about Tuesday, the day before I had to go to court. So the day before I had to go to court was, it was a little bit stressful, but now we were making some of those cookies, chocolate chip cookies for the kids, and boy, that's a hard one for me to turn down. Fresh baked anything is hard for a lot of us to turn down. I mean, most of us can relate to that, I'm sure. So yeah, I had one cookie, thinking, yeah, that's not too bad. And then of course I had another one later on, and I'm like, well, I already had two cookies. I need to knock this off. So I did. I knocked it off, but it was just, I enjoyed it. Now, when I look back on it, did I eat that because of stress? Well, maybe a little bit, but the second one, maybe. But it might have been the stress of, oh my goodness, I already ate a cookie. I might as well just eat another one, because, if I'm going to do something wonky, I might as well just keep it all within the same day. But I enjoyed those cookies. I'm not going to be too beat up about it. Let's see, Monday I ate 80-20 burger patties with nothing on them. It was just butter and seasonings that I like to put on there. That was pretty amazing. Now, let's see, Monday I also started making some ribs in the crock pot. I don't know if any of you make ribs in the crock pot, but I like it that way. I don't know why. It's almost a little bit better than being on the barbecue, because they tend to hold some of the moisture a little better, and I don't get really dry, gross ribs. So yeah, I feasted on those for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then and Tuesday I went off the rails with the chocolate chip cookies and stuff like that. But let me see. So Friday, that was Friday was like a burger bowl with some butter added. I didn't put any onions in there this time. It was, a pretty basic meal. This morning we woke up to, uh, let's see, we had some eggs and bacon today. So yeah, the wife was making her pot roast her way. I'm not going to argue with that because I can just eat the meat. I'll separate the veggies. I think she's got some onions and carrots and celery and stuff like that in there with a whole bunch of random seasonings in the pot. And that's sitting behind me here on the slow cooker, and that should turn out amazing here by the end of the day. The emotional food diary and how it works. Now, the emotional food diary, that is similar to just a regular food diary. It's just going to contain the addition of what your emotions were when you went off rails. So like this, let's just take for instance, this week. Like, what was I feeling when I was eating those cookies? Was I feeling like mischievous? Was I feeling sinful? Was I feeling gluttonous at the moment? Well, thankfully I wasn't feeling gluttonous, or else I would have ate a whole lot more. But yeah, I was feeling a little mischievous, and I was just like, man, I'm just going to eat this cookie and forget all about it. So, that's kind of juvenile in a way, but it's something that we do at times, and we just need to understand the reasons why we're doing these things. And this is why writing your emotions down, in addition to a good food diary, um, it'll help you just kind of figure out that equation as we go out through the process. At least it has for me. Now, before I even started the weight loss journey, one of the recommendations my doctors and the health physicians at the exercise clinic that we have here, they gave me this idea. They say, hey, before we even do anything at all, we want you to write down a food diary for me for the week. So I tried the first week, and of course, like everybody, we fail. And so we had to try again, and then we had to try again and again and again. And finally we got, a good week in there that we could actually sit down and look at. And the reason that it's hard is because it needs to become a routine as well. So since I started making these videos, I started writing these down in my phone. Now, a handwritten food diary or emotional food diary would be more beneficial because there's actually a process of, your mind connecting your brain to the pencil writing or the pen, however you choose to write it. And there's a mental connection going on there. So you're going to be more focused on what you're actually eating because you're going to be held responsible for what you're going to be putting on the paper. Now, when I started, I was writing down all that, and then I realized I had a whole page filled up the first day, and I'm not even at lunchtime yet. I'm like, holy cow, man! I have eaten a lot of food just from the time I got out to lunchtime, and then I'm considering eating lunch again, and then I'm going to snack some more, and then we're going to have dinner time, and then we're going to snack some more, and then we're going to go to bed for a little while and probably wake up at 2 in the morning and snack some more. And that's how the whole obesity issue just gets completely out of control. It's just we just walk over to the fridge, or we're hitting the pantry, or we have pre-made bakery items just scattered about. And that was another thing I had to phase out of this house, is because we had a lot of sweets from like Halloween and like birthday parties and stuff just randomly about. And when I see those things, I'm just throwing them in the trash now. I'm not holding on to them anymore. It's just stuff that's going in the garbage. But yeah, if we focus on the emotional aspects of why we ate in the first place, it's going to be tremendously helpful for getting through this entire process. And this is a lot of things that I'm using myself. So I'm not preaching to you to do this stuff. I'm just preaching to you that, hey, I've done this stuff and I've gotten tremendous results out of it. So let's talk about some of the off-scale victories I had this week. Yeah, I added in exercise. That's an off-scale victory there. Now, the exercise may or may not have contributed to some of my weight gain. I mean, some of the stress might have, but in all actuality, a gallon of water is 8 pounds. So 7.7 pounds over 300, that could technically be a gallon of water. It'd also be a little bit of muscle. But I'm not even going to play tit for tat. I don't care. It's just whatever it is. I'm going to have to come up with a different strategy for next week. And I do have an idea, but I'm not sure if I'm mentally prepared right at the moment to implement it. And I was going to do another egg fast for next week. And I'm not sure if I really want to do that right now, because you got to be in the right state of mind to do a fast. So I might just go out through the next week, see what happens, and try to get as much exercise as I can for next week. And then maybe after that, I mean, if I don't see any numbers that I really want to see, and I'm not getting, down lower, if I start continuing upward, absolutely, I'm going to do an egg fast. But yeah, at this point, I might just hover right here and see what happens. Just, I'm not off the rails. I just have some things going on, and that's respectable, I hope. But yeah, I got some exercises in there. And so when I started exercising, that first video, that was extremely rough when I started showing everybody what I was doing, because I went in the other room, I was doing push-ups, and then I came right in here with only a couple minute break. My arms were already pretty spent from my first attempts at push-ups in this entire weight loss journey. And I didn't even do any sample push-ups to see if I could do any beforehand. Now, I did some squats before I started exercising just to see what kind of squats I could do and how they would make me feel. So I got over here and I got these weights and I started lifting them, and yeah, I was gassed out already. I was getting like 5 per arm, which was really odd for me because I can usually do anywhere from 10 to 15 without a problem. So the very next day I picked up the weights again, and there was a lot of comments in the comment section about the amount of weight that I was picking up, and not to stress myself out too much, and I could potentially hurt my back. Now for me, it feels good lifting. It really feels good. It releases endorphins. It makes me feel pumped. It's the kind of pump you want to have right before you get into a fist fight. If that's anything you've ever done in your life, you probably know what I'm talking about. But it feels good to lift that much weight. And so somebody said something about the number 12, and I was like, challenge accepted. And yeah, the first thing I did that morning is I got up and yeah, I hit those weights, 12 times. And then the next time I came back, I hit them again, another 12 times later on in the day, and then another, additional time. So overall throughout the week, I believe I did right around 100 curls. That's about 50 curls per arm throughout the week. And I did kind of flub up there a little bit on Wednesday. That was my court date. I wasn't really into the whole exercise thing that day. I wasn't feeling it. I just got, found guilty in court. So I was like, whatever. So I did get in some curls that day, but I didn't do them to the extent that I did previously. The push-ups, again, I'm doing assisted push-ups on my knees. Total throughout the week, I did about 85 of those. And then I was doing some random stretches afterwards. I was doing some shoulder exercises where I was holding my arms out and doing, really controlled circles, just working on dexterity and stuff like that, and also flexibility front and back. So the exercises have been extremely nice to this entire process, and it also works great for when you're frustrated. You just get it all out. Just get it all, whatever frustration you got, get it all out in your exercise routine, and then hopefully you're going to think level-headed for the rest of the day, and you're going to eat a little better for the next 24 hours. At least we hope that that's the case, because it doesn't work that way for everybody. I get that. Yes, I almost forgot about this part. I also wanted to give a special thank you and a shout out to 2 of my viewers from last week's video. Tortuga Lisa and Jennifer Lieberg. I wanted to thank you guys for being my first 2 subscribers that have ever given me a super thanks. I had no idea what a super thanks was until I saw it pop up on the screen, and it does. It pops up in a dramatic, special way for us creators, and I want to thank you. So, all right, pretty much all the money that's going to be made on this channel is going to be funneled directly right back into the channel for, future production costs and stuff like that. These cameras, these microphones, these lights, there's a lot of knickknacks and doodads that either get lost or they fail at times. And, that's a cost I would like to, be absorbed with any money that's coming into this channel. Now, unfortunately, my fine for this week was about the amount that this channel has made from October up to this point. So I'll be receiving a check this week, and that's including these super thanks for about $239, I believe it is. And that's going to be the first actual payment that this channel has received in the entire time it's been on YouTube. And it's been on YouTube for approximately a year now. And I'm finally starting to figure some things out. And I'm finally starting to figure out my place in the universe. And I'm just going to stick with the weight loss. We're going to focus on more health and nutrition type discussions. We're also going to focus on carnivore specifically, because that's just where I landed, and I didn't land here on purpose. It's just part of the process that of things we go through as we're trying to learn things. So yeah, I just want to thank everybody again, and yeah, I wanted to let you know where the donations are going to go and what we're going to be using them for. I would much rather be transparent with about everything that's going on here, because it just makes everything so much easier, and there is no backtracking. I don't have to cover up any lies or anything like that. So, all right, guys, I think that's going to wrap up this video for the week, and I do hope to see you in the next one. And whatever you do, don't forget to drink some water.